Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Kevin Gregory, aka Bubbles the Clown. Our conversation spans from obstacle course racing to working in retail and just being bummed out by that, to starting your own personal training business during the pandemic, to building a thriving business in the private sector. We also talk about our time together in the obstacle course racing world and where Bubbles came from. He's a very interesting guy. He's got a great story, and I hope you enjoy my conversation with Kevin Gregory, Bubbles the Clown. Hello.
Hello.
How you been, man?
Superheroes, books, club. Been amazing. The new gym's coming along. The painters are in there now, so I opted to come out to the car. It just happens to be raining right now, so I'm kind of out here. The office was quiet for most of the day, but now they're painting literally in the office and in the rest of the gym. So I'm like, all right, car it is.
But that's how it happens. That's how it happens. I wanted to bring you on, A, because you're a cool dude, B, because you're an interesting guy, and then C, because you're an entrepreneur. And the show is I don't know if you remember, the old show was the Obstacle Order, and it was confined to talking about obstacle course racing, which is how we met. And this one is called Philip Levy Show because, I'm a narcissist, and it's discussing health, wealth, and life. Right. And that could be, what your definition of wealth might not be money. And your definition of a good life might be different than someone else's. So I'm just picking people's brains on basically what that means. And so why don't we start, I don't even remember how you and I met. But I know the picture that I'm going to use for the show notes on this when I put it up on my page. But we met on the OCR circuit probably like 5 or 6 years ago. I don't remember how, but can you describe to people, you have a certain persona that you don when you're racing, and I think it's really cool. It's one thing that kind of drew me to you. I'm like, oh, that guy's pretty neat. Can you tell us about who that person is?
Sure. So I could do the voice if you want, but pretty much 3-4 years into OCR, or obstacle course racing, as I'm sure your audience knows, I decided to find, actually, I guess it was kind of lucky. I found this mask that I could breathe in when I was running, and it could have been anything, but it just happened to be a clown mask. I dressed for a lot of the races I'd done in the early years, but I wasn't competitive. And then I started getting more competitive, and I just so stumbled upon this mask that didn't cover my mouth, which was the biggest problem with all the other masks I'd seen in the years. I got the mask. I wore that in races as I wore other costumes in other races up to that point. And then the mask didn't deteriorate like most of my costumes. So I got to wear it over and over, and people saw me, and I goofed around a lot, and it kind of took on a persona of its own. It got a name and a voice and all these fun jokes. And then it just kind of became my thing. So the best part of it is, when I started racing, the thing that drew me to the sport was that you're out there with other people grinding, and you're going to the finish line. Now, when finishing the race was my thing, that was cool. But as I got more competitive, I started racing athletes that were there to push themselves and beat times and race each other and all that. And coming from a competitive sports background, that scratched a major itch that was a huge void after college sports. So I did that, but I noticed when you're competing head to head with people, they don't want to talk, they don't want to joke around. So I did some competitive racing with the mask on, but I found out that if I just race as well as I can without it, I'll place pretty well. And then I still have enough gas in the tank to put the mask on and go out for a quote unquote fun lap, or media as a Spartan ambassador, collecting
the media lap
videos of the other racers. Yes, or whatever. But then I could go out and do the whole thing that drew me to the sport was goof around and like encourage other people. Like obviously some people are afraid of clowns. I don't know why, but they are, and that's fine. And I'm not there to like be their worst nightmare. I'm just a friendly clown. I don't want to hurt anyone. But people tend to grab me when they know their friend is afraid of clowns and bring me over to their friend who's terrified and then watch them squirm as they scurry away or whatnot. And this happens almost every race. It happened to me last weekend at Woodstock at the Spartan there, the New York Tri-State. And it just happened to be—
Congratulations on your podium, by the way.
Thank you. It was the state troopers. One state trooper comes up to me, and anytime a policeman's come up to me at races, it's usually, I mean, not really races, but I guess usually when you're approached by a cop, they probably have something they need to tell you.
Your walls
that
go up
might
a little
be important.
Yeah.
Like, what did I do?
Check your pockets, like, smell your shirt. Like, I think we're good here, but what can I do for you, officer?
Yeah. So he comes up to me and I'm like, here we go. Tell me I can't wear a mask because of safety, because I've had that issue before at venues and different races in different countries and the whole safety thing. But I already had a backup plan if he was going to tell me how to take the mask off. Like, well, officer, we've been forced to wear masks for over a year. Did you never get the memo? But he didn't say that. He's like, hey, my buddy over there is afraid of clowns. Can you come with me? And I look past him and the huddle of state troopers is hanging out. I'm like, sure, let's go. Which one is it?
That's great. How'd that go?
You know, the usual. It was good. He squirmed and he didn't run, but he also needs to remain looking somewhat professional because he is a cop.
Right.
But,
were they?
I went over.
They were in uniform.
Yes, they were actually.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that makes it even more funny. But they're. Well, you know, you've been to lots of races, a lot of
security
service people race and on their day off. But in this case, these guys are on the clock, on the job, as they say, working security for the venue, not security guards, but like state troopers. And I was like, oh, do you know? Go ahead.
And the camera angle doesn't do it justice, but you're 6'3" and what, like 240?
I'm 6'2", 6'3", and about 220.
220. Sorry. Okay. All right. It's just the angle up here makes your biceps look huge. What's happening?
Thanks.
Yeah,
I heard they win races, so I tried to do some more biceps, and I guess it worked.
You've got, I guess and for a guy that size, you're a hell of a runner too. You just took first place age group in Woodstock, as you so humbly just breezed over in that story about scaring the police. But I remember I don't remember what race it was. It was back when I was doing 13 races a season, a Spartan alone. And then you'd have like training races leading up to your actual races that you cared about. And like, I hear this like, hey guys, what's going on? And I'm like, what the hell is that? You see this massive hulk of a guy moving very fast. And you turn around and it's not a friendly clown mask that you picked out. It's a scary looking clown. I don't have a fear of clowns. And it's me. There it is.
I don't know why. I can show you. It just happens to be in my car. I don't know why, but it's here.
I'm gonna ask you if you had that thing with you. Yeah. It's the smile lines. Yo, what are the odds? It's always there. So that sets you apart, I think, from a lot of the obstacle racers. One of the things, like anecdotally, I'll share this real fast. One of the reasons that I wear pink shorts or wore pink shorts. I've yet to put them on in like a season and a half, but have a kid and a worldwide pandemic and things change up. One of the things that I found was like that you can't, if you take yourself too seriously, then you miss out on a lot of the moments, like like where you and I are, and forgive me if I'm generalizing for you, but like, we're like the B squad of elites. Like, well, maybe you're not anymore because you podium. I've never hit a podium. I got fourth place was my best. But like, once you get into your 30s, it's like, all right, there's the guy that win races. And then there's like 5th through 13th place. And like, that's where I feel like I was hovering and I was comfortable there. But like the guys that like come in the really angry, like war paint and like they're there to show off their tattoos, and like, you know, the warm up is like basically just posturing and looking around and doing some of this and whatever. I'm kind of like, man, these guys, I love when they would look at guys like us and they're like, look at these fruitcakes, like a clown and like pink shorts, like what the hell? And it's just like, all right, check the times at the end, brother. Like that's where the proof is in this pudding. And I thought it was just an interesting contrast, and kind of a commentary on social psychology, I guess. It's like those that try the hardest to posture may have wanted to train harder. And those who are out there having a good time, you know, it's like the old adage is, you know, work hard now so it's easy later. Or the, you know, the test is in the training. And when, you know, come race day, that's when it's time to go. Anyway, that's one of the things that drew me to you. I'm like, this guy, his shit's together and he doesn't take himself too seriously. And I feel like I feel like I can relate to that. So here we are talking. And so where did the, you know, when you're like, I was looking for a mask that I could breathe in. Like, did your OCR career start with like Tough Mudders and dressing up in costumes and stuff like that?
Yep. My first race was in 2011. My college buddies messaged me and they're like, hey, let's get back together. Let's do this Warrior Dash. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but yeah, tell me about it. I'll probably do it. When is it? Where is it? Blah, blah, blah. So like, oh, it's up near where we went to college. I still lived in that town. So they would come back and then, I'll run with you guys on Sunday, whatever. So they're like, all right, make sure you wear they're like, people dress up for these things. So get a costume. So like, all right, well, we went, didn't have a costume. I just wore like old sneakers, old shorts. And I got there and I don't even remember if I had face paint, but people were like looking like Hawk and Animal from the old WWF days. Yeah. And then they gave you one of these water buffalo hats. And I was like, oh, that was cool. Like we had fun. We did it. You get a free beer at the finish line. I was like, this is amazing. Looking back, Warrior Dash was like such an entry-level race. But at the time, we didn't know any different. And this was totally new. So I did that. And while I was there, I'm hearing about this other thing called Tough Mudder. And I was like, what's that? And they're like, oh, it's another one of these races, but it's a half marathon. And I was like, I can't run that far. Meanwhile, I just played 4 years of college lacrosse and 1 year of college wrestling. And I could run that far, probably, bless you, if I needed to, but I never thought about running 13 miles all at once, let alone a road race, let alone a obstacle course race. So my buddies and I, we talked about it a little bit after the weekend. We ended up signing up and we're like, all right, it's June, July, whatever now, maybe even August at this point. And the race wasn't until November. I'm like, all right, I'll sign up. I have time. Now I had something to train for. Once football, like I played semi-pro and it was only in the summer. So once that was over, it gave me a reason to go to the gym. I downloaded the Tough Mudder training plan and did the runs and did the circuit training or whatever else they gave me. And like I wasn't out of shape, but I definitely, you know how it is. You can be in shape, but in shape for what?
Right.
Like if there comes to a road race, they're not going to do very well, and vice versa. you train right for sport specificity and you get better results in that area. So I did that. The three of us, the race was in Englishtown, New Jersey. So we all went to school in upstate New York. We drove down to the guy that lived closest, which was in Staten Island, which was 20, 30 minutes from Englishtown. So we drove down there. We stayed at his house. The night before the race, we were talking about what we're going to do, our strategy. We're going to stick together. No man left behind. There was three of us, and we all worked out pretty well. So we were all confident. We just didn't want to be the weakest link out of the three. And then my one buddy, he dressed up for everything. He dressed for St. Patrick, for like everything. So he's like, we got to go to Party City. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. So we went to Party City and we started going through costumes. I'm like, what do we want to wear?
That's English town right there, man. The first, yeah, that was it at the race?
Changed the bids a lot when they went to Vegas.
Was it at the whatever raceway?
Yeah, the rating. Yeah, I forget the name of it, but that's exactly the venue it was at.
Yeah, that was a miserable
park,
something like that. Yeah, that was a terrible 24 hours for me.
I didn't even know that it existed at that point.
Well, that's where they. Yeah, that was 2011. That was the first one they did, and that was the last one they did in England, in New Jersey, because so there were 900 people in the starting wave, and everybody they were in there in costume, and yeah. I get out of the car and I'm like, that was actually the first race that I was ever like sponsored for. Like, people were like, here's your flight and here's your hotel, and I was like, oh, I got to do this now. And I get out of the car, and I mean, I'm from Tennessee and I live in California. I don't know cold like that. And I get out, and like the cold just goes, it's like as if the cold had lobbed off my fingers. And I was like, this is not a joke. And it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Like, when that sun goes down, this is not going to be good. And so anyway, 900 people started in the pit area. And after lap 1, which was 10-mile laps at that time, and they since shortened it to 5 miles so they could keep medical attention on everybody and easier course management. After one lap in the whatever raceway, all but about 80 people had left. And they were just like, nope, like it's not gonna work. Like it's just not gonna work. And I mean, I was running they said wetsuits were optional, but they should have made just like I should have done wetsuit the whole time. I should have done wetsuit the whole time. I got hypothermia. That's one of the reasons I had to. I rested in my tent for a long time, and then I walked the course another 10 miles. So I was like, all right, it's a technical 30 miles, but that was really cold. Anywho, sorry,
that was in December, right?
Yeah, it was December.
That first one was in
10th.
December, right?
Yeah, December 10th or 11th, 2011. It was ridiculous. It was like a ridiculous medical hazard waiting to happen.
Yeah. So I did it a month earlier that year at that venue, and the attrition of the racers was crazy. Just in the one regular Tough Mudder, because it was very wintry. It wasn't snowing or anything. It was just so cold, and you had all the swims. You had them in December, breaks and stuff, but they offered us free tattoos, or you got a free race if you got the tattoo.
I remember that.
Why not?
I remember that.
So
did you get it?
Went to go get the tattoo, and the tattoo people, I did. It's on my thigh. But I'm like, yeah, can I get this tattoo? And the tattoo is like, yeah, give me a minute. We got to clear some people out. This turned into like the like extra warming area because the medics were overflowing with too many people, hypothermia. But we great time. We ran it in I think 2.5 hours. And which was great for us. We had no idea of how long it would take, let alone none of us had run a half marathon period. So we had no concept of that. Our goal is keep moving the whole time.
Yeah.
When we picked out our costumes, we got Santa suits because the holidays were coming, but not Santa suits like traditional ones. We just got pieces of Santa costumes. We had some Santa shorts and then suspenders with shot cups, but we didn't need those. But they had that Santa hat. We did some spray on white face paint beards, and what else? We did some those canes tights, so our legs are covered and whatnot. And they had a costume contest, so you go there and then they vote for who wins the costume contest. So the three of us were triplets, so we all won. We won a season pass. We're like, great, wow. When's the next one? They're like, next month. It's the 24-hour one. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, what?
No, this is good. Since this is the last race of the year, they're like, don't worry, it'll roll over to the next season. So just keep an eye on the website. Come spring, we'll announce the venues and the locations and all that. So we ended up getting a lot of use out of that first season pass. But that day was fun, and the Santa costumes were great for that day. And then the next race, we went back to Party City in the Poconos, and I think we might have dressed up as clowns for that one, but it was fluffy hair and face paint and rainbow socks and whatever, just because we were walking through Party City and we're like, that is something we can run. That's the big bow tie. Yeah,
right. You have to have a functional costume. I didn't have a subject matter quite pegged for this episode, but I think it's going to be functional costuming when racing. Which is it's a big thing. People don't think about breath, about chafing, about being able to wait if you're swimming. Let me ask you this: did they have? So it's Glen Helen race, right? That's what it was. Did they have? I'm curious if some of the obstacles were the same, and I remember pretty much all of them because it was so bloody awful. It was the cold. It wasn't like, oh, this is difficult. It's just you're frozen and nothing works. So there was an obstacle that was just, I don't know if you remember, there's a long pit of water, really long. It was like paralleling the drag strip. And one of the obstacles was, it morphed into the cliff, but basically it was just like you climb up platform, you jump in, you swim across, and there's a little rope. And then let's say you're on the right bank and you climb up, you jump off, you fall, you swim to a rope and you pull yourself across, and then you're on the left bank. And then you run up maybe like 100 yards. And then there's just a rope going across the water. And it's like, okay, pull yourself across. And you've had that 100 yards to just, not warm up at all. And then you get back into the water and you pull yourself across. And then you go, you're back on the original right bank, and you go up another 100 yards or so. And there's a third, like, you get in the water again. I think you take a log and you had to like swim it around a little buoy. And it was just awkward. It wasn't very far in and out, but the whole time, like from start to finish, Kevin, like you're like, oh, hey, all right, I've just run like, it was right before the lap was up also. So it was maybe a mile and a half out. But you can put your wetsuit on if you want. There was a tent to do that. And then you get in the water, and then you do all that stuff I just said. And all the while, like, it's probably like a 12 to 15 minute period of just, that's what you're doing. And all that while, your core temperature is just dropping and dropping and dropping. And then when you're done with the long strip of water that you crisscross multiple times, you're then at the top of basically the drag strip, and they make you run all this long, just shuffle on concrete back to the first aid tent. And then you can go into the pit and you can rest or eat or whatever. I don't know if the setup was like that, but that's what got me after my 20-mile mark. I just they're like, hey, check, whatever the signs of hypothermia are. They're like, how many fingers? And I'm like, like 4. And they're like, yeah, you need to sit down. I couldn't hold broth in my hand. It was just, the cup was just spilling out everywhere. So that's where the clown came from. Was that the second race? You're like, hey, this is for me.
No. So the clown thing, that was a functional costume we found a poofy hat, or like, a clown wig with rainbow hair and then face paint and stuff. And then later that season we did angel wings one race. We did, I don't know, we kept changing it up because we just kept going to Party City before every race. Mm-hmm. Like, we got to find something we could use more than once. This is getting expensive. We're spending more. We got a season pass, so we're not paying for races, but we're paying
right.
60, exactly. $70 for costume parts.
This is ridiculous. Every race.
Yeah. But no, that was in 2011, 2012. But it wasn't until 2015, maybe 2014. It was 2014 or 2015. It was in the fall, and it was around Halloween time. So I just happened to be in a Halloween store looking for Halloween costumes, and I found this chinless clown mask, and I was like, oh, a mask I can breathe in.
Yay.
And I was worried. I was worried about the nose not being able to breathe out a nose. So I'm trying to punch bigger holes in the nostrils. But it turns out as long as you can open your mouth, you don't really need to breathe out of your nose at all.
No.
Even swimming. So it debuted at the Ohio Trifecta weekend when you did all 3 races in the same day.
Oof. In the same day?
Yeah. The East and the Super Back. And I think it was only a 1-day weekend too. So
wow.
I had done Killington Ultra the month before, so I could do anything. I just finished the Killington Ultra Beast.
You did an Ultra Beast as your I'm sorry, how many races had you done when you did your Ultra Beast?
Well, in 2011 I ran the Tough Mudder. 2012 I did the sprint at Tuxedo. There's a bunch of Tough Mudders too, but I did the sprint Tuxedo and I did the Killington Beast. And then that was 2012. 2013 I attempted the Killington Ultra Beast because I wanted my trifecta, and I DNF'd it after 12 hours. I didn't drop out. I just got to a point, and they're like, we changed the time hack because people are not finishing fast enough after it, so you're done. And the group of people around me, I agreed. At the time, I was very unhappy, but after that, and they took us off the course, and everyone else was angry. I was like, well, it is what it is. But that single moment was my motivation to train for a whole year. Because 2014, I came in way more fit and way more ready. 2014, I finished the Ultra Beast. But I was doing a bunch of other races, like you said, racing to train. I did a ton of those. Then I went to the trifecta weekend, and I completed that mostly with bubbles, but I was freezing. There was like hailstorm during the super, and clown mask protected my head from the hail. But all the Tough Mudders I was doing, and I was running into people doing multi-laps of Tough Mudder, and I was like, you guys ran this twice today? That's nuts. And they're like, you did the Ultra Beast. This is much easier than that. So I was like, all right. So I just started like finding this new community of crazy people, as they're dubbed, and I thought at the time that I'd become one, to the outsider. And they're doing like 2 and 3 laps in the weekend of Tough Mudder, and then they told me about the world's toughest Mudder, and I'm like, oh, I heard about that. Yeah. But I don't know if I could do 24 hours of this. That's like a little too crazy. And I just stayed in touch with them. And 2014, went to Vegas and ran World's Toughest Mudder.
What group did you join? Was it a specific group like on Facebook, or was it just that's one of the things that I've found, like, I was always kind of like a loner when it came to like, it was me and my buddy Eli. It's just, I don't, people are like, hey, come stay at my house. And I'm like, what? I don't know you. Like, that's just weird for me. But like, who did you find? Who did you stay in touch with?
The first guy was Eric Jenkins. He's from like St. Louis, Missouri. Okay. He's got bigger biceps than anyone I know, and he's a smaller guy, so they're like proportionally look way too big for him. But props to him on building those things. But
that's the most important thing. If anybody listening or watching is considering entering the sport of obstacle course racing, you got to get the gun show going, man. It's going to carry you over those miles.
Enough obstacles.
That's actually funny.
The pendulum force.
One of my I hate working arms. Like, I'm always just like, I like carrying heavy things and going up and over things. But the first time I learned that I should have worked my arms more was when I was at World's Toughest, and I was like helping someone up over a wall, and it was literally like the beginning, that bullshit scene in the first Batman, the good Batman, the new Batman, where he's like, with Liam Neeson hanging. I'm like, wow, this is a functional application for bicep curls. Like, helping somebody up over a wall until you can get onto their britches and pull them. You know, like that's like, should have trained biceps more. All right, so you got involved with the one dude, or was there a group, or like, I mean, because I know that feeling and how powerful that is to get people to just keep pushing you to your new norm, you know?
Yeah, I met him on the course because he was running a second lap.
Okay,
and then we just ran the rest of the lap together, and then we chatted a lot. And so after we finished, he's like, dude, I'm going out to whatever restaurant. There's a bunch of mudders over there. They're going to get some food. So if you're not leaving yet, then come through and eat. And like, I'd love to introduce you to some more people. Cause at this point I'm like, yeah, I want to do World's Toughest, but I don't know if I could. He's like, come, I'll introduce you to some people. And it was like the people that just go to every Tough Mudder every weekend and sleep in their car overnight and like that kind of thing, which I was totally down for. I like get mad when I had to get a hotel because I'm like, what a waste. I'm getting here at midnight. I'm leaving at 6, and I don't need all of these amenities. I'm paying like hundreds of dollars to stay in this beautiful room that I really don't need. So meeting those guys, and like some of them, like they're all like very uplifting. They're like, dude, I've done this. You are way more fit than me. You could definitely do this. And there was a lot of that.
Don't you love that? You don't know if it's bullshit or not.
Well, what have you done? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, all right. And then you have the other people like, I'm going to do this and that. And you're like, yeah, you've done a sprint. You're definitely not going to be able to. I mean, you could try it. I'm not going to tell you you're going to fail, but like, I'm not one to put people down. But if they're pretty confident that they're going to go race the Lake Tahoe Ultra, and they've only run races in Florida, they better do some research and travel
easy to talk that game. That game.
The elite, the pros at World Championship drop out of this race because it's too cold. So I'm not saying that you're not equipped, but you have nothing that you're telling me is building a good case that I think you're going to finish. So
you can say it as many times as you want.
I really hope you do finish, but shoot me a message if you need help with training or anything. because I'm happy to share some experience. But yeah, so a lot of those people are like uplifting, like, hey, reach out to me. So I don't know if I join one specific Facebook group. There is always the World's Toughest Mudder group and Orphan Tent group and all that stuff, which Tent? I've been in, but I'm not super active in groups because, so World's Toughest after you probably. They're like, obviously, pit crews are very helpful in 24-hour races.
Yes, which absolutely. Absolutely.
If you didn't have one, then you'd be like, yes, I wish I had somebody.
Yeah, I was running solo on that one. But I had a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Yes, I made them all the night before.
Yeah.
So the Orphan Tent was created for the people that show up to World's Toughest without a pit. So not everybody can afford to fly their best friend out there or pay for their expenses or whatnot. So you sign up, and then the Orphan Tent you bring your supplies, but somebody's like the orphan mom, and then she like keeps track of your shit, and then they like pool monies and food and shopping and all that. So that way there's a big group of food come in and someone hands you something, and you don't have to worry about getting everything for yourself. You don't have to carry a tent. There is one. And it's more like the word's escaping me of, it's a community support group basically during the race. So that way you're not totally, which is the whole World's Toughest community is great for that reason, because you race next to somebody you've never met before, and both of you are trying to drag the other one along a little faster, and someone fails, like, hey, I'll run this penalty lap with you even though I passed, just because I want you to keep running with me.
Yeah.
Or all right, cool, I'm tired, run ahead, don't waste your time, like someone else will come along or whatnot. So those things really kept me going back to World's Toughest. And so whoever I met Eric, and then I met some other people like Sharkbait.
You met Sharkbait.
Meeting Eric Jenkins first, and then the other people at the restaurant.
Real quick, hey Bubbles, can you turn your Wi-Fi?
See her,
can you check and see if your Wi-Fi?
It just got through.
And technical difficulties. We will be right back after these short messages.
All right, so I think what happened was the painters are in my office, so they probably unplugged the Wi-Fi. So
can you actually? Yeah, I was going to ask. Yeah, it's way better actually. I was going to suggest that you shut the Wi-Fi off, so it's not all.
Yeah, that's what I did.
All right, so you met all these people. You met Sharkbait, and then you started going, click, 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 and we'll edit that out in post. So no big deal.
Yep.
What did I miss? Is what I'm saying.
All right, so I met Sharkbait and then some other people she introduced me to, and then just seeing those people every weekend, because they'd all run the first wave of the day for Tough Mudder, and then I'd start with them, and then I'd finish, and then I'd run again, and then see them like throughout the course or in the festival area or not. And then you start getting like a community of kind of friends, so then you have people to like carpool with or like stay with or whatnot, and that just kind of drags you in more. But that just kept me coming back to like the bigger scenes and stuff. And Bubbles just became well known because the Tough Mudder crowd is it's more kooky people that want to have fun and do something active, where Spartan's always been more cutthroat and leave me alone, we're racing. So
yeah, I noticed that.
Compete in Spartan and then do the fun stuff. And it is funny for so many years, like the Spartan people talk shit about the Tough Mudders and the Tough Mudders talk shit about the Spartans. And I'm like, I don't really care. I'm friends with everybody. I'm just Bubbles. I'll be myself in both places. So that's why I'd run competitive, and then I'll go out for some fun laps, which were training laps, but I can run a training lap and have fun and make new friends and support people. Or like if you've done a Tough Mudder, there's people that sit on top of the slip wall, or Everest as it's known, and just pull people up for hours.
Biceps,
yeah.
biceps,
See?
biceps.
They don't like the gym, so they just do the bicep helpers.
Just like, I got to biceps for 10 hours today.
Yeah.
Just
Boom.
like this.
So, that's kind of been, well, the difference between those two. But I've been able to be myself in both environments and get respect from both groups of people. And there's spillover, obviously. Not everybody's a cutthroat asshole and Spartan, and not everybody's like a goofy. I don't care what I place in Tough Mudder. But
I've noticed that the higher up you get in the rankings, the nicer people are. Because if you're out there, I mean, there's a couple outliers there, and there's some people that just have their like personalities, that they're kind of TV personalities, and it's like,
we don't need to name any names, but we know who they are.
We won't. But the I found that, like, when you're out there just grinding, it's kind of like Fight Club. It's like, how much you really know about yourself if you've never been in a fight before? Like, how much can you know about yourself if you've never put it all on the line before? If you've never been like either marking someone and getting in their head, being right behind them, and you can see the finish line, or that it's like mile 9 or mile whatever, it's almost time to really turn the gas on, and you're breathing real heavy and they can hear that, and their adrenaline's up a little bit more. If you've never competed at that level before, and all your basically athletic prowess is either in the gym or saying like, well, I can do this at some party or something. It's like, okay, like how much can you really know about yourself, until you put on a clown mask or pink shorts or whatever. But one of my favorite things, Kevin, is doing that media lap, doing that victory lap, and like seeing the, like the regular crowd, and like they're like, it's a big deal for them, and like coming up and being like all, me, like I have this kind of, I don't mean to be aggressive looking, but I just am. They're like, I'm like, oh no, it's okay, I'm here to help. And they're like, a wall, and I'm like, you mean you can't just do up and over? And they're like, no. And I'm like, all right, well, let's help you out. Come on, grab a leg, grab a whatever, and like the cargo net. Like, who would have thought that's hard? But like people, it's ignorant of me to assume that. But like being able to be out there and like coach people and like, do your J hook, then grab, then squirm yourself into a little shrimp position, J hook again and stand. That's it. It's really fulfilling. Like I love to do it. I know you do too, because I've seen you out there doing it, and people are, when you come up in your freaking, can you put that thing on and just give me let's do a little role play here. I'm a field level athlete, and I've got this guy coming up behind me, and I'm struggling. What obstacle am I struggling on? Pick one.
Okay, we can do the rope climb.
The rope climb?
Sure, the rope climb.
All right, so I'm struggling and I just can't seem to get it. And this guy comes up behind me, and I hear this.
Boy, let me help you out.
What the hell?
You can do it. So, your friend over there told me you do this at the gym all the time, so I know you can do it, but you're probably a little tired. So just come on down. Let's shake out your hands. You know what you need to do. You got to set your feet and then stay calm, because when you start freaking out, you're going to fall off, and then I'm going to catch you, and then you're probably more scared. So just take a deep breath. We're going to do this. All right?
All right.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right, let's go. So let's jump high, grab, set your feet, get to the top. Ding! You did it! Yay!
And then they run even faster. Even faster. It's so great. Oh, it's good to see Bubbles again. All right. So shifting gears a little bit, I want to talk about your business ventures. And you can say mask on or mask off for this, your choice. But it might be easier actually to capture the audio without the mask on. But we did you lose an AirPod? Oh no! I just lost. Shit, man! I owe you a Bubbles mask.
Oh,
is it really? That was one
around Halloween town.
Well, now you can stitch it up. Was that the
I did
first
that
bubbles
once.
mask
I put
ever?
a band
You've
in.
had to have replaced that
No,
thing before.
that's like the 9th one.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't feel quite as bad.
Oh well.
Well, at least you got it on tape.
It happens.
So all right. So you
All right,
just
shift
recently
gears.
made some. I mean, you've always been a coach, or how did your athletic? You were a college athlete, and then what did you do professionally before you did what you do now?
So college athlete, got out of work or got out of school, started working retail. Money was always something that eluded me and my family growing up. So I always worked a lot of odd jobs to make money so I can buy my own stuff. I hated my parents never had a lot of money, so we were always strapped financially. And if you've ever been in that situation, which I'm sure a lot of people have, it's very stressful. And as the oldest son of three, I didn't want to ask for more money because I knew they were already having problems like paying the bills and feeding us and stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'll get a job. I'll go mow the lawn at the neighbor's house, or I'll go get a job when I'm 16, work at a supermarket, or ironically, I worked at a carnival. Had nothing to do with clowns. It's not. I don't know how this.
You're like,
came to
that's me. That's my future.
But I was a shy little kid, so I was like, I wasn't afraid of the clown, but I was like, I could never be the star of the show. But so I worked odd jobs and stuff. So once I got out of college, where I lived, the best option for me was retail, and I had some sales experience throughout college. Hey, little guy.
Hey, buddy, you just missed a super scary clown. No, I won't. Hudson wanted to come and say hi. He was knocking on the office door. Okay, so continue. I'm listening.
Yeah, so I started working with one of the cell phone companies, and the major ones that you probably have or have the other one. And I started climbing the ranks. I started as a sales rep, moved up to supervisor. Then my store closed. I took a job as a general manager with the other big cell phone company in the same town. So I was professionally advancing, but I quickly realized like working retail is not the industry I wanted to be in. You have no time to yourself. The only days off I got were like Tuesdays and like Wednesdays. There was a pain in the butt to like leave and get to races. I'd like trade shifts so I could work the closing shift on Saturday, so I could drive down on Friday after the opening shift, race, and then drive back to work on Saturday, and then try to close on Sunday too, so I could go back and race on Sunday. Like if it was within,
this is the 20s. This is the 20s and early 30s is what it sounds like. That commitment to the grind.
Yeah, so I wanted to race, and the retail world, I needed money, so I worked as much as I could. But I wasn't finding fulfillment there. I was helping people. I was selling them products and meeting their needs and all that stuff. But I was also playing football, so trying to balance that around the schedule of work. I'm like, well, I can't go Saturdays. I have a Saturday night game and all that. But my chiropractor, because I got injured playing football. Imagine that, humans running into each other at full speed. You tend to break down. And she's like, you should get into personal training. And I was like, I don't know. She's like, well, you love sports. You're really good. You understand more about what I'm doing to you, because I always like, what happened to my arm or whatever she's fixing? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? And I'm like very inquisitive, because I'm like, I want to fix this in advance of it being worse, or I want to prevent it or whatnot. So she's like, you should definitely go into like personal training or something. So she told me about ISSA, which is one of the big certifications. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I signed up. Woo! Certified. So I signed up. I got the general personal trainer certification. And then I got a couple clients, but I was training them around those crazy retail schedule hours. I was making like very little money because I didn't know how to market myself or how much to ask for pricing. Also, the market demand in the town I lived in was very low. Like nobody wanted to be in shape, and complaining about how much they weigh was enough to take care of how they felt about themselves. But I ended up
so that's the caption for this episode. Yeah. Complaining about yourself is enough to alleviate your problems.
Yep. So what are you actually going to do about that? Nothing. I just wanted to complain about it.
Just wanted to hear myself bitch. That's pretty much it.
I guess I can't help you then.
That'll be $1,200.
Yes. Doctor. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to work retail anymore. So I was training a few people, but I started refereeing because I wanted to be around sports, and I got into refereeing so I can make some money and not need that from the retail job. And then what else? Just odd jobs to like build up some money so I could replace my retail income. I ended up making enough where I was like probably $1,000 short of what I made in retail, but I was like, I can live off that, and I'd rather have the work-life balance. Even though I got to grind in these three areas, I'd rather have the hours back that I can't buy than work these crazy retail hours. So I took a demotion at the retail job down to assistant manager and then down to sales rep. So I pretty much made a pyramid of it. I started at the bottom, made it to the top, and then finished at the bottom, just so I could try to get some like just life balance, I guess. And I ended up leaving there, and then with strength and conditioning, it was like summertime was coming, so I was trying to find a way to use my skill set in training and whatnot. So I ended up learning from the college I went to. The soccer program was the best program of any sport. They had camps, like their athletes would come back to the college in the summer and run camps for their team, with their teammates, with their coaches, help the local community get better at soccer. And then when their season started, imagine how much like camaraderie they already have because they built all these bonds. And then their season goes well, and they already had a really good coaching staff. They recruit really well, but people buy into the coach's philosophy because of all this other stuff. So they just go to the NCAAs every year. And I talked to, there's a husband and wife that were the coaches, and then the wife got promoted to athletic director. So the husband he stayed as the assistant coach, but they had another alum that like played at a very high level and was an All-American. So I like volunteered to help them out at their camps. And that turned into the husband was a camp director. He's like, I'll pay you this much money to come in and do strength and conditioning at my camp. We're just doing 1 week. I want to make sure it goes well, but I think that could be a good fit. You'll be able to use your expertise and give back to these kids, because these are all, the week that I worked was the varsity teams from all the surrounding cities and towns would bring their teams to this camp. So they had like, it was like their Hell Week before Hell Week. So they came to camp together, and then I got to teach them lifting form and mechanics and all that stuff. That parlayed into opening my own camp the following summer. So I just did a strength and conditioning camp for like 6 weeks leading into that camp, so I could still work there. And I really loved working with the upcoming like middle school and high school athletes. And I got some of their parents as clients, but it still wasn't like my full-time gig it wasn't my full-time income. And it was over the summer. So school started, I started working with as a strength and conditioning coach for that team. And then the team I played for, the lacrosse program, then wrestling. And then I ended up working with 7 different NCAA teams, building their strength and conditioning programs, doing morning workouts with them and whatnot, but leaving myself time to referee in the afternoon because, again, I needed to fit all those financial pieces together as best I could to pay the bills. So I was working. Oh, go ahead.
So what year are we in here? Had you started racing yet?
I started racing while I was still working retail. So racing was paralleling this along with football as well. So I was trying to play football and referee and race and work retail.
And you recently, you basically are doing what any trainer who is worth their salt dreams of doing, and you're opening your own facility, right?
Yeah. So there's a bit of a gap in that from where I just described until now. But
I'm sorry. Okay, lead us up to it. Let's go.
So I was doing that stuff. I still lived in upstate New York, where I went to college. Great college town, not great local living town. Like being a townie is not not the brightest goal of anybody up there. So I was in a past relationship, and that ended. And I was like, I'm leaving this place. I don't know where I want to go yet, but it's not here. So I was thinking about moving home to Long Island. and I was thinking about moving to Albany to partner up with another race friend and maybe get a gym with him. But I ended up meeting my now wife, and she lived in Connecticut, and I was like, well, maybe I'll give Connecticut a shot. She's over there. I don't want to do a long distance relationship. I'm leaving. I don't have a destination, but that looks like it might be a good spot. So I came out this way, and I've been in Connecticut since 2017. And I started here in a gym, a big box gym. I was just like, I need a job, go to a gym. Her family's like, oh, this gym's amazing. Applied. They're like, what do you want to do? Like, what did you apply for? I'm like, well, I qualified for every single position you have on your like Indeed. I could be a general manager, assistant manager, sales manager, like I greatly exceeded all like minimum requirements of all those jobs. I was like, I just want to be a personal trainer. I make my own hours, right? They're like, to a point, but yes, you do. I'm like, great. All right. So what do I need to do to like show prove myself or whatever? They're like, all right, come back Thursday, and we're gonna have you do like basically a tryout. We'll have you train one of our managers, and then they can report back. I'm like, well, Thursday I'm gonna be leaving. I'm doing a 24-hour race in Las Vegas. Can I do it today, or can I do it when I get back? Or this world's toughest 2017.
Damn right. Yeah, you gotta.
So
how about this? How about
like I'm not gonna be here, but I'll do anything else you need. I just around the time I'm here. And they hired me. I came back. I got hired as a trainer. I worked for a month. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to go to Iceland in about a month to do a 24-hour race. And will that be a problem? So they accommodated those two things immediately. And I had told, like, they have this thing called ramping up. I'm sure you've been in a gym where they have that.
Yep.
As many trainers have. So they're like, we expect you to be ramped up within 6 months to a certain degree of number of clients or dollars or whatever.
How much money are you making for us? That's what that means.
Yeah. So that window of before we really give you a hard time about pulling your weight. So I ramped up to what they wanted me in 6 months. In the first full month I was there. So I was like, run with the opportunities. They gave me a lot of leads. So I just closed a bunch of new clients and fit into their system very well. And until COVID, I was doing really well with them. I'd reached, I guess, maybe not the highest level you can be as a trainer and pay rate, but there's another level, but they require 5 years of working with them to do it. So no one in the whole company has that level. It's just there to, I guess, entice people
Nobody
to stick
has
around.
This. It's just it's there just in case you start to feel too good about how your skill levels is. This what company was this that you worked for?
The Edge Fitness Club.
The Edge. Okay.
So I've heard the name. They're based out of Connecticut, and within the last 3 years, they expanded to Michigan, Missouri, New Jersey, and Rhode Island. But when I started, there was only like 12 clubs in Connecticut. So they've been growing, and I have nothing bad to say about them. What they taught me there and what experience and opportunity they gave me is, I don't know, that it gave me the launching pad I needed to do what I'm doing. And if COVID didn't happen, I'd probably still be there, because COVID basically was a catalyst to force me to look past what I was doing and realize I could do this for myself. And so, we closed, furloughed, and once gyms opened here, one of my friends and I, from the gym, another trainer, we just opened our own spot a year ago. And
wait, a year ago was during COVID?
Yeah, so Connecticut allowed us to open gyms June 24th, I think. One of these days in late June.
Yeah.
They were like, gyms are allowed to open. All these restrictions, but gyms can open.
Yeah.
So we were training people outside during COVID when we were supposed to be not training people because gyms are closed. Doing our safe distance and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But clients are like, I need to work out. I can't sit on my butt. I've been training with you for this many years. I need you.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, can you come to my house and train me in the backyard? I'm like, I don't have equipment. You don't have equipment. We can't get equipment. That's fine. Just come over and hang out in my backyard and tell me what to do. All right.
There you go.
That started in like April and then May. And then we're like, why don't we get a spot? Like we can rent a space and that way if it rains, we can go inside. So we did that. And then we got some more equipment and then we got more equipment and then more space. And then we moved to a bigger space because we realized this is actually working.
You opened a gym and then within 1 year you moved to another space already.
Yeah, we opened in June and we moved in August.
Okay.
We need more space.
That's a good problem to have, I suppose.
It was.
And then sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say we did want to do it for ourselves, but we also, the two of us, we set up an S corp. We got in touch with some people that are much smarter than us with a lot more experience in business and that kind of thing, and asked for advice. So we talked to an accountant, and the accountant's like, you guys need to get incorporated immediately. That way I can make you pay as little tax as possible. I'm like, you're the boss.
Yep.
You tell us
Hire it out. Hire smarter people than you, man. You'll go far.
Yeah. And then we hired a couple of trainers to work in our facility, and we just had them pay us flat rate rent. So like a salon or whatnot, because we were like, let's keep this as simple as possible. 3 of those trainers that we hired initially left us definitely within 6 months. 2 of them left within like 3 months, and the other one left 6 months to open their own places, because they're like, if you did this and I have all these clients, I can do the same thing. And we're like, great, I'm really happy for you. I don't want to own you. I want you to be successful. I just wanted to kind of have a little security, knowing I have a little more income to cover the bills just in case. But we got it. So go, by all means, let us know if you can help. So 3 of them went out and opened their own spot. And then up until May, we hired a few more trainers. It was just getting really crowded. Busy times, got busier, and space, 3,500 square feet goes fast, and you have a few different bodies in there. You have a couple of group sessions happening at the same time as a class, and another couple of one-on-ones, and you can't move. So we had, my other owner and I had some difference of opinions on a couple things with training styles and whatnot, and we discussed an opportunity to divide, and he bought me out, and I took that money and invested into a new gym, and I'm operating, but I don't want to say I'm up and running. We're getting painted today, all kinds of construction.
You're doing it, man.
Pretty much, I think June 2nd or June 2nd, I think. Maybe June 1st was when the decision was made. And then today's the 22nd. I have a lease. I have all the equipment I need, minus a couple things that weren't available, but I'll have them soon. But the place is getting painted today. We've run classes already. We've already started training people in the space, and we're incorporated again. Bank accounts are pending. Like, what else did I get done?
Great.
Insurance is done.
That's
like
awesome.
Everything you need to the playbook to own and operate a gym it's a lot if you think about it, but I did it all a year ago. So I'm like, okay, I know what to do.
Yeah.
ABC.
Do you find it's easier this time around, right? You have your systems in place. Easier. You know exactly what to do. The layout is the fun part, and you've got, like you said, you've got your equipment. What's your team look like? Is it just you right now, or do you have any trainers working for you?
So my wife was going to become a trainer this summer because she's a teacher and school's out. And she's like, should I teach summer school? And I'm like, what are they going to pay you for summer school? And she tells me a number. And I'm like, that's basically like 4 sessions. You do 4 sessions a week. That's 4 hours. And you covered a whole week worth of teaching.
Yeah, there you go.
Maybe you enjoy yourself. And I might actually see you.
And you get to wear pajamas if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, you can wear your yoga pants every day or shorts.
That's right.
Whatever you want. So that was our game plan leading into the summer anyway. But once this whole divide happened, I was like, look, I'm not going to do this without your support. I want to make sure we're on the same page, because I need to make sure you and I are happy. And if we're fighting or arguing over this, then it's never going to work, because it's not going to be worth like damaging our relationship over it. So we talked about it. We game planned some stuff. I'm like, I know what I need to do, but I want your input on a lot of things. And especially like paint colors and logo, the important stuff. But I'm like, I want to go over all the business stuff with you too, so you understand this. So
right.
it's more of like both of us running this gym, not me and you kind of being a part of it. So that's been like a lot of fun since school ended because I'm like trying to do all this stuff all month, and she finished teaching Friday. So this is the first week I've had her. I've had her for 2 days. But no, so it's going to be the two of us for now. I'm willing to take on some trainers, but I want to get everything up and running first before I start cramming people in. But clients, it's like the same clientele I had a month ago. They're just coming to a different address. The other trainer and I still have a good relationship, so we're planning on doing some.
That's great.
Like combined events or work. Like we had a lot of success with these like transformation challenges. The old gym used to do weight loss challenges. We didn't like the fact that it forces people to look at a scale because our training philosophy is training is not just a number on the scale. So our transformation challenges have been focused on changing what your body looks like. And if you want to gain weight because you're a skinny little guy or girl, then you have the same chance to win as the one that needs to lose weight because it's how your body transforms. Before and after pictures, and it's subjective, but it's
how do you gauge a winner on that?
So we have everybody that is involved votes for their top 3 after the time frame, 6 weeks, and then we tabulate the votes, and then we get finalists, and then everyone votes again for the finalists.
Okay.
And then, like I said, it is subjective, so yeah, it's a little bit of a popularity contest, but if people are getting involved with the community, which we want them interacting with one another, uplifting one another, they're going to be sticky to the gym. They're coming more and people see them working hard. It's not just a face on a screen that lost 5 pounds. They were not. So I have, most of the clients are local, but I had some virtual clients and they finished like 4th and 5th last time. And they had only interacted through Facebook. These people in our gym never actually met them. So they're like, I can't wait till the next one. Because I remember like I messaged here and this person commented on my thing and I suggested this recipe and then this person messaged me and I'm like, good, you're tied in. And the girl and the guy that won this time, they did 2 challenges prior and no one knew who they were. Like, you did great, but we don't know you, so we're going to vote for this person.
Right. So it's politics, man. It's just politics.
Yeah. Our objective isn't to do that. Like, you did really well, but we're not going to let you win, so you come back. But that just kind of happens. But we had people when we were at the other gym, the weight loss competition. You'd have someone that had an amazing transformation, and they wouldn't even crack the top 3 because they didn't lose enough pounds. And some guy that sucked water weight, like a boxer or a wrestler, is going to win because he's really good at manipulating his weight. And it's like, it's not fair. Well, that's how that's measured. So you're just.
Here's a question for you. How do you get, because I have online clients also, and one of the things that I have had some trouble with is getting people to shift their beliefs from believing how much gravity is exerting on a scale as an indicator of good health. And I'm reminded of the line in Interstellar when McConaughey's like, what size pants are you? Or what's your inseam? And he's like, oh, I'm a 30, 34, 32. And he's like, you mean you're going to use 2 measurements to measure your own ass and only 1 measurement to measure my son's future? And I'm kind of like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the human body is the most complex machine in the known universe. And we're using, a very simple metric that's completely, it does not do it service at all. And I think I was just wondering, like, how you kind of fought that status quo of like, well, I've lost 10 pounds. It's like, well, you can't lift yourself up off the ground. How do you do that?
Yeah. So I think it's very individualized because you have some people that are so mentally attached and like they bring a lot of their own baggage in.
Yeah.
Well, back in blah, 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 I worked with this trainer and he wanted me to eat 1,000 calories and I lost 10 pounds. I'm like, do you have pictures? Because you probably look like a skeleton and you're not functional at all. And I'm going to guess you probably got a lot of colds, or maybe you got sick a lot because you were malnourished.
You were sleeping
like,
all day.
I was always tired. I'm like, yeah, because you're living off caffeine and no food. So finding what their like baggage is prior or in discussion, or it takes a lot of conversations because a lot of people just keep that buried. They want to lose weight. All right, why? If you've done precision nutrition, they do the 5 whys. You ask someone the same thing 5 times until they give you the real truth. And then finally they're like, well, and it's really deep. And then they start getting emotional about it. Like,
because my dog died
finally telling me
I was like 12 and he was malnourished. So I'll never be malnourished or whatever.
Yeah. So that gives you, I don't want to say the ammunition, but so that's going to give you their like prime motivator or whatnot. And that's going to help you like peel the onion layers back so you can figure out what's their actual motivation. You can put what they need to do in terms of that. And that allows you to communicate better with them on a deeper level. But being able to show them examples of what you're trying to have them do in people that they know, or at least they know of. So, for example, at the old gym, I had these 3 women. They took class like 7 days a week. Some of them would take 2 classes back to back, multiple days a week. They go out and run. Now, human beings in general.
Yeah, that's a deep psychological. That's a deep psychological well you got to get to the bottom of or refer out to right there.
So I'm like, I know I can't fix them on a. That's a little out of my scope of practice. What I know is wrong with them, but how can I help them? Because there is something I can do to help them. I know I need to get them to eat more and train less, which is counterintuitive. So I need to help them get over this huge mountain of what I just told them. Because their main fear is I'm going to get fat or I'm going to gain weight or whatnot. But if you can get them to trust you by demonstrating that you've done this to somebody else, or if you haven't, find someone else that has gone through this path. Like, look, I need you to gain muscle mass. It's going to make your body weight go up. However, your goal isn't to lose weight. Your goal is, as you said, you want to look better in a bikini. But right now you have all this skin flabbing and this and that, or however they describe it to you. You just reiterate what they say. Yeah. Look, if we can add some muscle mass, your body's going to tighten up the skin. The fat that you've had a problem losing forever is going to go away because your body's going to stop holding on to that because you're starving yourself.
You're not dying anymore.
Yeah. I need you to eat 2,500 calories. And they're like, oh, that's impossible. I'm like, I knew you'd say that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to start you there. We're going to bump you up to like 1,500. And we're going to do that for a little while. And it's going to seem like a lot of food that you can't handle, but that's okay. And then we'll reevaluate from there. But just know that that's not the end all be all. We're going to keep increasing your food. And I'm going to make you pick up heavier weights. I'm not going to make you not take classes because I know that's like your identity and I don't want you to be away from all your gym friends and whatnot. However, when I'm teaching those classes, I'm going to take the little weights that you always use and I'm going to replace them with bigger, heavier ones. I'm not going to expect you to be able to do the same number of reps. I'm going to make sure your form's good because I need you to build some more muscle mass and I'm going to protect you. I'm not going to get you hurt. Eating more is going to protect you too. And that's also going to keep you from getting hurt. And just like explaining it in a way that you care and showing them you care, but then showing them they're not doing it alone and that you're going to be there step by step. And they always want to know, well, exactly how many pounds am I going to lose? And like for the first 2 weeks, mentally prepare yourself to gain weight. Because when you get on that scale, you're going to see the number go up. And I need you to understand that's supposed to happen. That's part of the process. But after that hits, then it's probably going to come down. I don't know how much, but even if it stays the same and we exchange 5 pounds of fat for 5 pounds of muscle, you're going to look really good in that bikini compared to what you look like now. And you're going to have way more confidence and you're going to enjoy eating the foods you're eating. You're not going to feel starving. You're going to have more energy and just promoting all the other positive benefits of a proper training routine and nutrition program. So I got one of those women to crack and actually like work with me because they were all just like, we just take class. We don't do we don't do challenges. We don't do training. We already know what we need to do. We work hard enough. I'm like, I know you work hard.
You work hard.
You're not working smart and you're not getting the results you want. So there's something missing. There's a void. So I got one of them to actually train with me. She saw very noticeable results. Then the next one's like, I don't know. I can't do this. I'm like, look, I know you think you're doing what you need to do, but look at your friend, blah, blah, blah. She is doing what I had her do for a few months. You're noticing results. She's noticing results. It's working. I just need you to trust me for however long. at least 2 weeks minimum, because you're not going to change anything in 2 weeks. I just tell them, I know scientifically you're not really changing their metabolism, but if you say we need to reset your metabolism, they somehow understand that because of all the propaganda they've read.
Yeah. Buzzword.
Okay. Reset my metabolism.
Fantastic. How's your metabolism today? Mine's firing on 12 cylinders. Hey, so I wanted to ask where people can find you. What's the name of your new gym? We know your Bubbles. I want to put all this stuff in the show notes because I want people to, like, you're gonna get the bump after this. Woo! We're going big time, baby.
We're gonna double my followers for the gym.
tell me the name of the new studio or gym or whatever you're referring to it as, and where people can follow you, and then you got to wrap up because I gotta talk to more people. I'm having fun on this conversation, but I do have another person I have to talk to that I doubt they're going to be as fun as this, unless they bring like a big like Predator helmet or something to the. So so what's it called?
Yeah, the name of my new gym is Underdog Fitness. I came up with that name because I felt like an underdog a lot of my life, being too big to run or too small to be an offensive lineman in football, or too slow or this or that. So I feel like I've embodied the underdog like mindset, and that's why I've really appreciated the wins I've had and the success I've had. But my ideal training client is that person that I see that they can do something and they have that potential and they don't quite see it yet, but I know how to get them there, and then they get a huge win. And I just I don't know, that's the underdog. Woo!
Yeah, great. And I love your logo because it's a little French bulldog, isn't it? Or what is it?
Boston Terrier.
Boston Terrier. Sorry.
Yeah, they look very similar, but that's my dog. Finley turned into a cartoon with the eye and the attitude and whatnot. So we're on Instagram at underdog_fitness, and my Instagram is Bubbles the Clown. There's an E at the end. If you follow me, then you'll find Underdog, and if you follow Underdog, then you'd find me. Instagram is the best place to find me. I'm on Facebook, but I have almost too many friends. So if I can't accept your friend request, it's nothing personal. I just don't want to take the time to go back and cut people.
For some people, 5,000 isn't enough, man.
I know. I don't want an athlete page. It's so impersonal.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like I've arrived, but then there's a little bit of personal touch that's lost there. Well, Kevin, man, I want to thank you a lot. It's been really good catching up with you, and I also want to congratulate you because I'd love to talk with you more when we're not on air here, because I feel like I could, because I own a studio too, and I can help you steer clear of some of the mistakes that I made if you'd like.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, man, it's been great catching up, and I'm really, really excited for you, and congratulations again, man. So cheers.
Thanks, Philip.
I want to leave you with one question. What are you giving to the world?
Smiles. I know it sounds really cheesy, but me being myself and being a clown, just as you mentioned before, like you and I, we don't take life too seriously. We are serious people. We get results in our life, but we don't take life too seriously. We're looking for a laugh. We want to enjoy life and uplift and make the other people around us enjoy it as well. So smiles.
Love it, man. All right, Kevin, thank you so much, dude. I'll be in touch, and go dominate your market, my friend.
Thank you. Take care, Philip. Appreciate it.